Hurry, hurry. Okay, so remember from binary search tree, our lecture yesterday, we said that, all these operations, the performance of it is OH, right? Where H is the height of the tree. So if the tree is imbalanced, then it's going to be ON, all right? It's going to be ON, which is not so nice. But what if the tree is balanced? So what if the tree is balanced? What do you think it is? It's going to be log n, right? It's going to be log n. Height will be log n if the tree is balanced. So this outcome is very nice. Okay, we would like this outcome if possible. All right, so we would like to balance the tree. So that's what we're going to focus on today. We'll be talking about height balanced trees. What does it mean to say that a tree is height balanced? And then how we maintain this balance, okay, as we do operations on a tree. Then we'll talk about rotations. Rotations are going to be the core operation that we use to correct height imbalances. Okay, so that's what we'll be talking about. Okay, so there are many different kinds of balanced search trees. Okay, if you Google, there are plenty of them. Today we'll be focusing on ABL trees. Okay, named after Alberto Vilsi and Andis. Okay, that's why it's ABL. You will be studying red-black trees in discussion group. Okay, so you'll be exposed to two kinds of balanced binary search trees in CS2040S. Okay, but there are plenty more. So if you want to know more about the other things, those are some of the references for them. Okay. All right. So how can we ensure that trees are balanced? That's our big question for today. So the key idea is that we want to define some good property of the tree, right? And we want to show that, okay, if this good property holds, then the tree is balanced, or balanced enough, okay? And that we will have a nice performance, all right? If the tree changes by, whatever we do, let's say we insert something, we delete something, the tree changes, then we need to check whether this property still persists. If it doesn't persist, then we need to fix it, all right? So what's another word for this good property that we want it to hold, Invariance, right? So we want this to be our invariant. Okay, so we're going to maintain a certain invariant for the trees that we're studying today. And the invariant that we want to, and it's called height balance, but we'll talk about perfectly balanced first. Okay, so this is a perfectly balanced tree. Okay, as you can see, the height on this side is equal to the height on this side, right? You can see it's perfectly balanced, it's all filled up, right? So this is a perfectly balanced tree. Okay, this is pretty hard to maintain in real life. So we're going to talk about height balanced. Okay. So a height balanced tree, we're going to maintain a height variable at each node. Okay, so you guys know how to compute heights from yesterday, right? You have a recursive calculation for computing the heights, right? It's simply the max of the left subtree's height and the right subtree's height plus 1. Right? So you look at which one's bigger, and then you have the edge connecting to you. Right? So that's the computation for the height. And then we're going to maintain the following invariant. We're going to say that, okay, all nodes in the BST are height balanced. What does it mean by height balanced? It means that the difference between the left subtree's height and the right subtree's height cannot be larger than 1. Okay, cannot be larger than 1. We're going to be not perfectly balanced. We're going to allow some leeway, and the leeway is going to be off by 1. Okay, so if your node is O, you can have this situation where you don't have to have k on both sides. The height doesn't have to be k on both sides. You can have k in one and k minus 1 in the other. Okay, so you allow this little bit of leeway, all right, in your tree. Okay, so can you guys still hear me? Okay, all right. So I'm going to make a claim. The claim is this: I don't need perfect balance. My claim is that if I have a height balanced tree with n nodes, it's at most height 2 log n. Okay, at most height 2 log n. So the height is O of log n, right? Because I can drop the constant. Okay, I can drop the constant. This is a big O notation, so I can drop the constant. So I'm going to prove this claim. Okay, so we're going to define the number of nodes, right? NH as the minimum number of nodes in an ABL tree. Okay, so this has we can expand this equation, this number. We can expand this number by writing 1 plus the number of nodes in one of the subtrees plus the number of nodes in the other subtree. Okay. So we're going to assume that without loss of generality, right, that one of the subtrees, right, is bigger than the other. All Alright, this is okay because we can just swap the subtrees if one is bigger than the other. It doesn't matter. Okay, we just assume that one is bigger than the other. Alright. So what we can do then is just say that NH is bigger than 1 plus just the smaller, 2 times the smaller of the subtree, the smaller subtree. Okay? Alright, so that's what we're doing here. Instead of NH plus 1 plus NH plus 2, we're just going to sum up NH plus 2. Okay, 2 times NH plus 2. NH minus 2, sorry. Alright, and this is going to be bigger than 2 NH minus 2. Alright, so that's the idea. We're just going to drop this 1. If it's bigger than this side, it has to be bigger than this. Alright, that's the idea. We're just dropping the 1 and adding 2 numbers together. Alright, now this is a recurrence. Right, this is a recurrence. So we're just going to use our old tricks and try to expand this recurrence out. So we're going to solve this recurrence for the base case n naught equals to 1. Alright, so we're just going to expand out. So in this case, we say nh is bigger than nh minus 2, right, in this case. Then we're just going to expand this part using the same recurrence. So this will lead to this, right, 2nh minus 4. And then we keep expanding this part, alright? Which will lead to this, this relationship in the end. Now n0, n0 is 1, okay, this is 1. Which will make you end up with this bound. Right? That's the bound that we're interested in. Now we know how to solve this bound because we've seen bounds like this before. All we need to do is add a log, right? So we add a log in front, so this will give you log nh bigger than log 2 to the power of h over 2. And then we just solve, right? So all you need to do is put the h over 2 in front. This part disappears, you can pull the 2 up that way, and then that will lead you to this. Okay, so what does this tell you? This tells you that the height, right, the height of the tree is less than 2 of log nh. Right? So this is claimed, right? This is claimed because the height is less than 2 log n, so this is O log n. Right? So the height of the tree is nice, right? It's short. It's not a long, it's not a very deep tree, it's a very short, shallow tree. Okay, which is what we like. So as long as the tree is height balanced, we're fine. Okay, as long as it's height balanced. So we allow this little leeway, right? It doesn't need to be perfectly balanced. It can be off by a little bit. So we don't have to be perfectly balanced as I said before. We can just be off by a little bit. We're fine. Okay, it's close enough, and the close enough buys us this shallow tree. Okay, so then now we have to figure out how we can maintain this invariant. Okay. So we're going to keep a height variable, as I said before, at each node. Okay, this is the height variable at each node. Okay, and then when we change the tree in some way, it may no longer be height balanced. Okay, it may turn out not to be height balanced anymore. And then that we have to rebalance it. Okay, and the way we rebalance it is via rotations. So it's going to be very useful for us to compute something called a balance factor. Okay, the balance factor is going to tell us whether we need to do a rotation or not. Okay, now the balance factor is simply going to be the left subtree's height minus the right subtree's height. Okay, the balance factor of an empty tree, which is a null, is -1. Okay, by definition. If the balance factor is bigger than 1 or smaller than -1 for any node, then the tree is no longer height balanced. Okay, so let's look at this. So let's do an example. Okay, to flesh this out more clearly. Okay, so let's look at the tree on the right side. Okay, let's look at the tree on the right side. I want you to compute the heights of all the nodes. Okay, so can you do that? Talk to your friend next to you. Draw the tree, right, and compute all the heights of all the nodes, and then compute the balance factors at each node. Okay, and then I'll do it with you in about 2 minutes. Okay, so talk to your friend. Try to compute all the heights. Okay, I'll give you a few on this side. So the height at each node is 0, 0. The height at this node is 1, next is 2, and then you can fill out the rest. Okay, so do the heights first. Let's do the heights first. So just talk to your friend, do the heights. Okay, I'll give you about let's say a minute. Shouldn't take you more than that. If you finish early, then start computing the balance factors. So compute the heights. If you finish early, then compute the balance factors. Okay. So remember the height at the lead node is 0. Okay, so the minute's up. Let's take a look. So if you want to compute the height is going to be 0, 0, 0 here at the leads. Okay, what's the height of 91? 1. What's the height of 65? 2. What's the height of 41? 3. Okay, now let's compute the change the color. Let's compute the balance factors. Okay, so the balance factor is simply the left subtree's height minus the right subtree's height. All right. So let's start with this leaf. All right. So this leaf has two like noun subtrees, right? And this is going to be by definition the balance factor of an empty tree is -1, -1. Right. So -1 minus -1. -1 minus -1 is 0. Okay. So the balance factor for this node is 0. Okay, and you can easily see that the balance factor for all the leaves are going to be 0, right? Okay, so the balance factor is 0, 0, 0, 0. Okay, so let's look at this node 29. Now 29, what is the balance factor on the left subtree? The height of the balance factor. The height for the left subtree is what? 0. And there's nothing, right? Okay, so what are we going to do? Yeah? What are we going to do? What is the height for the right subtree? The right subtree is not 1. The right subtree is 0. The height is 0, right? What's the height for the left subtree? This is 0. Okay, this is 0. By convention, we're going to do -1 here. Okay? So this is going to be, all right? Okay, so let's go some more. This side is, the height is 0. What's the height here? 1. What's the balance factor? 0 minus 1 is? Minus 1. Okay? So you repeat this throughout the tree. You can do this, right? And then you're going to get these balance factors. Okay? You're going to get these balance factors. Again, you just repeat this process. Okay? So you compute the heights, and then you compute out the balance factors. Okay? So once I insert the node, here I'm going to insert 37. So insert 37, you guys know how to do this, right? You go down the tree and you check, oh, 37, bigger or smaller than 41. What do you do? It's smaller, then you recurse left. Right? Bigger or smaller than 20? Bigger, you recurse right. Okay, keep going, and then you insert 37 here. Now once you insert 37, something bad happens. What bad thing happens? Your balance, it's already become lopsided, right? It's become lopsided. So your balance factor gets off, alright? It becomes -2 and -2 here, alright? So when this happens, that means your invariant is broken, right? Something's wrong. You need to fix this. Okay, the tree is no longer height balanced. We need to fix this somehow. So the way we fix this is called the rotations. Okay, the rotations are what we call primitive operations. Okay, that we use to rebalance the search trees. The idea is that we want to locally rebalance the subtree for a given node, and there are 4 kinds of rotations: left rotation, right rotation, left right rotation, and the right left rotation. We'll cover the basic rotations first, which is the left rotation and the right rotation. Okay, so we'll cover that first. So when does this rotation apply? When do you use it? We use it when y is x's right child. Okay, so in this case, right, x here, the y's node, y here is heavy. Okay, it's heavy, causing an imbalance on x. Alright, and we want to rotate it in some way. You'll see why we call it rotation in a second. In order to fix this. Alright, now what we're going to do is we want to change it so that y becomes x's parent instead of the other way around. Okay, that's what we're going to try to do. But we're going to maintain the BST properties. We have to maintain the BST properties. Again, that's again another one of the variants, and we have to maintain it to ensure the fast searches. Okay, so imagine that each of these nodes, right, has these subtrees A, B, and C, which we have labeled here. Alright, A is smaller than x, smaller than y. Right, it has to be the case because y is x's right subtree. Right, so A must be smaller than these two. B must be bigger than x, but smaller than y. Alright? And finally, C must be bigger than both of these. Alright, so let's look at where we can start putting these subtrees when we shift y to be x's parent. So we're going to shift y to be x's parent. Okay? X can only go here because x is smaller than y. Right? X is smaller than y, so it has to be the left child. Okay, it has to be like that. Now we're going to move these trees. We're going to move these subtrees over here. Alright? The question is how? So let's start with A. Where can I put A? Far left, right? That's the only place I can put A because A has to be smaller than x and smaller than y. It's the only place I can put x. I can put A. Alright? Let's look at C. Where can I put C? Far right, right? It's the only place I can put it. I cannot put it here because C must be bigger than both of these. Okay? I can't put it anywhere else. There leaves only one place for B, right? B comes here. Right? So what this has done is that I have pushed y to be x's parent, right? And then I've moved the subtrees around, right, in order to restore the height balance, and we'll see how that happens in a second. So this left rotation, right, applies when y is x's right child, and I want y to be x's parent. What is the worst case time complexity for left rotation? What do you think? Is it O1? Is it On? Is it O log n? Or is it hold on, let me process this shit? Okay, so what do you think it is? So think about the operations, put it in on pull everywhere, right? What do you think is the, you're putting in? Good. What do you think is the time complexity of it? Right? Have a think about the operations that you need in order to make this happen. So I'll put it back so you can think about what we did a second ago. Right? So we shifted y to be x's parent, and then we started moving around these subtrees. Right? Move A, move C, and then we move B. Now what are the operations involved in moving these subtrees around? Okay, so check with your friend. I'll wait a little bit. Let's see. With about 11 results in. Keep thinking about it. So I'll give you a minute, alright? Or until it reaches time. So slowly go through the operations that are involved. What do I do when I'm moving stuff around? Okay. Okay, so time's up. Most people have said O1, right? O1. Some people think ON. There are a few people who think O log n, and some people are stuck. Right? So let's try to work this through. So the right answer is or 1? It's a constant time operation. Alright? So why is this a constant time operation? So this is the pseudocode for rotate left. Alright? Now keep in mind that all we are doing is just moving references around. In fact, there are only a fixed number of references that we need to move around. Okay? So we were describing before. So what we're going to do is we're going to set y as x right. Alright? And then we're going to reassign the parent. Right? Conceptually, that's what we're doing, conceptually. Then we're going to make y into x's parent. And this is in here, right? So we make y into x's parent. This is just moving references around. Okay? Next, we have to start moving things. Now, A. Is A moving? Actually, is A moving? No, it doesn't, right? Because the reference is still the same. Is C moving? No. No. The only thing we need to move is B. Alright? We move B, and then we update x as to y's child, and then we're done. All we're doing is moving references around. Alright, so this takes constant amount of time, which is good because we don't want our rebalancing operation to be very expensive. The rebalancing operations, each rebalance operation is expensive, then it's going to make it very expensive to maintain our ordering variance of the tree. Okay? Alright, so now we fix kind of x and y, or we fix x and y. But is the BST property preserved for the parent? So do we have to fix the parent? So yes, we have to fix the parent. No, yes, of course, the BST property is preserved, so we don't have to fix it. No, it's broken, so we need to do something. And C is, C is C. Okay. So have a think and put it on hold everywhere. And let's see what do you think. Do you think that the BST property is preserved, or that we need to do something in order to fix the parent? So think about the two possible cases, right? In which case, which subtree would it be, which child would it be, and then try to work out why it is. We may have to change something or not. So again, I'll give you a minute. Okay, so we have about 21 results in. Good. 20 more seconds. Okay, so 80% of the respondents think that yes, BST property is preserved, so we don't have to do anything. And 20% think, no, something's wrong, we got to fix it. Okay? So the BST property is actually preserved for the parent. Now why is it preserved for the parent? So let's have a look. There are two possible cases that can occur, right, in this case. So it's either that x is going to be, parent's left child. Right? After you do the rotation, is this property preserved? The property that you need is preserved. Because x and y will be definitely left less than the parent's key. Right? That's for sure. After you do the rotation, it's still nothing has changed. Both of them are still less than the parent's key. Right? They're still in the left subtree. Now, the other case is that it is on the right subtree. Now, in this particular situation, does it matter that I've done the rotation? It doesn't, right? Y just becomes x's parent. But they are both larger than p, so that property maintains. We don't have to do anything. Everything is preserved, right? So in this particular case, when we do this rotation, right, and in general, the BST property is preserved, so you don't have to do anything. Okay? Now, here's a right rotation. Right rotation is when we want y to be x's parent, but it's on this side. Okay, y is x's left child, right? So we're going to do exactly the same thing as we did before, right? We're going to examine this in the same way. So in this case, A must be smaller than Y and X, right? In this, and here C must be bigger than Y and X, and B is in the middle. Okay, it's smaller than X but bigger than Y, right? By the DST tree properties. Okay, so we're going to again make Y into X's parent. When we do that, X will fall onto the right side. Okay, because Y is in X's left subtree, so Y is smaller. So Y has to be on, when it's put to the top, it needs to be basically up the left subtree. Okay. All right. Let's look at A. Where can A go? Where does A go? Left, far left, right? That's the only place you can put it to make sure that the DST properties are correct. How about C? All right. That only leaves one place for B. Okay. Only one place for B, which is smack in the middle. All right. And this is a pseudocode. It's very, very similar to the other case, right? Again, we are just moving references around, so there's nothing really expensive about this. Okay, this is constant time operations. Okay, so let's get some practice with this. All right, when I first saw this when I was an undergraduate student like you, I saw this rotation. I'm like, what the hell, right? How do I know when to do the left rotation or right rotation? Right? It's confusing, right? How do I know what's going on? So this is how I remember it. It may not work for you, but this is how I remember it. So all you guys drive. How many of you drive? How many drive? Oh, okay, good. A sizable number. Sometimes I learn nobody answers. How many play video games? You guys know how to drive a big car, right? Yeah. Okay. All right. So there's a steering wheel. If you don't know, there's a steering wheel, and you turn left to turn left, and you turn right to turn right. Okay, that's the idea. All right. So we've animated this. So imagine if this is the situation. All right. Your tree, in this case, is right heavy. So your wheel, right, is facing this, is pointing this way. Okay? And you're going to hit that tree, so you need to correct it. Alright? You're going to hit that tree, so you need to correct it. Right? So you can follow me along if you want. You grab X, you grab Y, you're facing, going towards the tree, so you need to turn it. You need to turn it this way. Turn anti-clockwise. This is your left rotation. Okay, this is your left rotation. So whenever you see a situation like this, you turn left. Okay. Conversely, if you are headed towards the tree on your left side, then you need to do a right rotation. Okay, so that's how you're going to fix it. All right. So this is how I remember this particular strange way of so left and right. Okay. So that's how you think about it. So let's try to fix this. Okay. This is our example. Let's try to use the analogy to driving to try to fix this particular problem. Okay. So what we're going to do is we do this insertion. Then we know that this node now has a balance problem, right? The balance factor is off, right? You're allowed one off, but you're not allowed two off. Okay, anything more than one is no good. You need to fix it. All right. So let's do this together first. The first one. Okay. Which node should we rotate and how? All right. 29 left, 32 right, 11 left, or 41 right. Okay, so you know which one is the first. So what you do is that you look for the first node which has the first, the balance factor is off. Okay, so you insert 37, you recurse up the tree, alright, and you look for the first node that has the off balance factor. In this case, from the previous slide, you know that this is 29, so this is the -2. Alright, so I'm going to have to do a rotation here. Alright, I'm going to have to do a rotation. So this particular subtree, this particular tree, is right heavy. Right, it's right heavy. So I need to grab 29, I need to grab 32, and which way do I turn? I'm going to hit the tree, so I need to turn left. Right? I need to turn left. And so you look at the balance factors, it's 29 left. Right? So you do 29 left, you take this and you turn it left, and this is what happens. Okay? When you do 29, 32, 37, you turn it left, it's going to look like 32 with two children, 29, 37, which results back in a high balance tree. Okay, so that's how we do the rotations. After this, you can. There's no need to there's no need to fix this. This is -1. We are allowed -1, so we don't have to fix this. Okay. All right. So let's try this out. Right. You guys know how to do this. So the first thing to do is compute all your heights, then compute your balance factors, and then see which one that you need to kind of fix. Okay. And then we'll do the rotation. Right. So why don't you work this out? I'll give you 2 minutes. Okay. Again, the steps are very simple. Right. write down your heights, write down balance factors, figure out which node you need to fix, and then figure out the rotation that you need to use. Alright, so those are the steps. I'll give you 1 minute, 2 minutes, and then you can get some practice with this. Okay, you have about a minute left. Okay. Alright, so hopefully you've drawn out the heights and the balance factors, okay, and that's going to show you something to add, okay, when you do your balance factors, okay. You're going to see that, oh, 20 is off, right, 20 is off. So 20 is off, what do I need to do? What kind of rotation do I need? Right rotation, right? In this case, you're left heavy again, so you turn it right, okay. So you do 20 right, and what's going to happen? You're going to get this nice little triangle here, and that fixes our tree. Okay, so let's start again. How about this one? So this is situation. We want to, which node should we now rotate? Okay, 32 left, 32 right, 37 right, and 41 right. Again, I'm going to give you like a minute to do this. All right, just a minute, and then we'll see what can go wrong. Okay, so have a look. Right, I've drawn out the balance factor, so you know that it's 32. All right, what do you need to do to fix this particular node? Just 1 minute. About 30 seconds left. Okay, so I think most people are saying none of the above. 20% are saying, how many numbers respondents? 12 respondents, okay, how many? Let's see, most of you are saying none of the above, but some people are saying 32 left. Okay, so let's take a look, right? The right answer is none of the above, but the question is why? Why is it none of the above? So let's try 32 left, okay? 32 left. So I take 32, right? I rotate it left. What happens? I get something like that. Alright? I get something like that. Because the 33 only has one place to go. Alright? So something's not quite right here. Right? Something's not quite right. This doesn't seem to work out. Okay? Because I haven't reduced any heights. Right? So something doesn't work out. How about when I turn right? So I have 32, I have 37. I can't turn it right because it's already right to me, right? I can't really turn it right. I can maybe try 37, right? You know, but that doesn't fix it either. I still get this weird like long shape. Alright, so this doesn't work. Right? So why is it not working? I told you that these rotations are the only thing you need, right? Why is it not working? It's because I haven't told you about all the rotations. Right? There are two more rotations that we need to cover, called the left-right rotation or the right-left rotation. I hate the names for these things because this is also called the double right. I don't know why it's called double right, but it's called the double right. When it's called double right, but you actually do a left and then a right. So I don't know. I didn't invent these things. Okay. So let's look at this particular case. This is a left-right case. All right. What this means is that Z is the node where the imbalance is. Okay. Z is the node where the imbalance is. But Z is left heavy. Right. It's left heavy. But is left heavy such that axis on axis right child. Okay. It's left heavy and axis right child. All right, right subtree. Okay. So to fix this, what we first need to do is to do a left rotation on X. We do a left rotation on X, resulting in this tree, right? And then we do a right rotation to fix it. Okay, so we need to do pair up the rotations. Okay, first we do a left rotation and then a right rotation. Okay. In this case, it's like the mirror case. Okay. Here you are right heavy on the left, on axis left subtree. Alright. To fix this, we need to essentially do a right rotation first on X, right rotation on X, followed by a left rotation on Y. Left rotation on Z. Okay, okay? So right, left. Now what is the pattern here? The pattern is that you see that this elbow shape causes problems. Right? So we basically are going to fix this elbow shape. Okay? We're going to fix it so that it results in more like a straight line, which we know how to solve. And we know how to solve that just via a single rotation. Okay, so that's the idea. So in this case, let's get some practice. You have our earlier case was 30. This was the earlier example that we showed just now. 32 is where the imbalance is. Okay? What do we need to do first? We need to do a left or right rotation on 37. Right rotation. Right? That fixes this elbow. Now it results in this shape. Right? This shape we know how to fix. How do we fix it? We do 1 on 32. 1 on 32. Okay? So if you ever worry, just grab the nodes and just shift it. Right? You will see. You can only kind of move it in one way. Right? To make it fixed. Alright. So it worked. This works. Right? So in this case you did a right followed by a left. Alright. So which of these can cause imbalance in the tree? Alright? Insertions, deletions, searches, both A and B, or help me what we want. So let's have a look. We'll do this quickly. I'm sure you can figure this out. So which of these can cause an imbalance in the tree? Right? When you insert something in the tree, when you delete something from the tree, when you do a searching, both insertion or deletion, or you need something. So let's put it in. Let's do this quickly. Okay, so majority of people are saying both A and B, 85% of you right now, and about 60% are saying A and B. Okay. So the way to figure this out is to think about what happens when you do insertion and what happens when you do deletion. Right? So when you do an insert or a search, and a search as well. Okay? So let's start with search. Search is easy. Right? When you do a search, does the tree change? No, so the balances cannot change, right? All the balance factors cannot change. So you can neglect search, right? Insertion, can the balance factors change? Can the balance factors change when you insert? Yes, you can, right? We saw a few examples right before. How about delete? When you delete the node, can the balance factors change? Yeah, you're changing the tree. You remove the node, right? Remember when we did deletion for, sometimes you have to move the successor to the node, sometimes that can change, or sometimes you just delete a node and delete, that can change your balance factor. Okay? So keep in mind that both insertion and deletions can cause this imbalance in the tree, in which case you have to fix it. So this is the general algorithm to fix imbalances. Okay? For both insertion and deletions, we walk up the tree to the root from the inserted/deleted node, right? And update the balance factors as we go, right? The moment we find a height balance violation, we need to fix it via rotation. Okay? So this adds some complexity to our binary search tree, means that now every node needs to maintain this balance factor all right? And then we need to update it, and every time we do an insertion, and every time that we do a deletion, okay? So we need to update this. Now, and every time that we find a violation of our invariant, we need to fix it via rotation. Now, the way you figure out how to fix it via rotation, again, is to look at the type of problem it is, okay? So let's look at this pseudocode. If the tree is right heavy, so right heavy is on this side, okay? This is when it's right heavy, okay? And the tree is the tree's right subtree is left heavy, so it's this case, okay? So this is like our elbow shape that we talked about just now, right? Then we have to do what kind of rotation? A double rotation, right? We first have to do a right rotation of 5. Then it will come up to be this case, and then we can do a left rotation. Right? And that will fix our tree. If it is just right heavy, it's this case, right? In this case, we know how to fix with a single rotation, okay? And it's the same for the other side, right? So in this case, it's just the left side, which is heavy, and you can look at how to fix that. You already know how to fix that, right? It's just a mirror case, right? So does everyone get this method, right? It's okay? Everyone okay? Yes? No? Confused? Don't be shy. We're confused. Confused too. Okay. So what's confusing? Everything. Okay. That's hard to address. Okay. So the confusing part is maybe when to do the rotation. Is that correct? Okay. So when to do rotation, there's a particular recipe. Okay, that's what we have with the recipe. And the recipe is following these steps. Alright? So when the tree becomes imbalanced, in this case here, right, you need to fix it. Alright, you need to fix it. And the way you fix it is using one of these steps. Okay? You either do 2 rotations or you only need to do 1 rotation. And the way you decide when to do 2 rotation or 1 rotation is to look at the pattern of the tree. Okay? Is it the case that the right, let's say the balance is at 3, is it the case that the right subtree is heavy or the left subtree is heavy? Heavy means that longer than the other side. Okay? Which side is causing the imbalance? Alright? Now based on that, you're going to pick one of these paths. Okay, you're going to pick one of these paths. Now it could be the case that the right side is the thing that's causing it to be heavy. Then you have to see. You have to see whether it's the left subtree or the right subtree which is causing the problem. If it is the left subtree which is causing the problem, then you have this elbow shape we talked about before and you need to fix that. Okay? You need to fix that by causing a right rotation, in which case it will end up in this configuration. And this configuration you can fix via left rotation. Okay? Now if it is the case that it was just right heavy, so in this case it was just right heavy, so the right subtree is heavy on the right side, then you can just fix it via left rotation. Right? So if you're further confused, the best way to work through these things is slowly and on the pen and paper, right, draw a few drafts and see how to fix it, right? And work through the examples in this slide. There are actually more examples of visual code as well, right? So if you want more from this. So this insertion example, this has caused, right, an imbalance on this side. So I need to do a right rotation. Right? I just need to fix. Look at this node, it's heavy on this side, so I just grab 29, 28, and I do a right rotation. This is another insertion example. I need to fix this node, 30. I walk up the tree, updating the balance factors. Right? And whenever I see a wrong balance, I need to update it. Okay? In this case, I have this elbow shape, so I need to fix it first. I need to do a left rotation on 28, followed by a right rotation on 30. Okay? Okay, so here's a conceptual question. Can a rotation increase the height of the tree? Let's just do a quick poll. Can the rotation increase the height of the tree? So how many people say yes, a rotation can actually increase the height of the tree? So nobody says yes. No. Rotations either decrease the height by 1 or leave it the same. Quite a number of people. C, why so many questions? Okay. So the right answer is B. Okay. Rotations either decrease the height, okay, they either decrease the height or they leave it the same. Alright? And you can visualize this. I found the best visualization I saw for this was from Wikipedia. It looks very confusing at first, but I'll try to break it down for you. Okay. So this is these are the heights. Okay, these are the heights. And you can see in this case, right, that Z is this configuration is right heavy, right? It's right heavy. Now this shows that it can be either two things. One is that it's this what do you call that? This configuration or a bit longer, right? Now once you do a left rotation to fix this, you do a left rotation. This is the configuration that's going to occur, right? As you can see, it's the case that it's reduced the height by 1 or it leaves it the same. Okay, so that's the two possible outcomes, and you can see for double rotations, you have something similar. Okay, that you will not ever increase the height of the tree. You either decrease it or leave it the same. Okay, so now there's another conceptual question. How many rotations do you think you need after an insert? So you do an insertion somewhere, right? How many rotations do you think you need? So is it log n, log n, log n, 2 log 3, 4, 4 log n's, on? Nobody says log n, o1? Oh, a lot of people o1. Not sure if headache or head about to explode. Nobody. Okay. Actually, you only need o1. You only need o1 rotations. You actually just need to do you need to restore the subtree rooted at the imbalance state. Right? Just once you do that, you're done. Right? Because the insertion always just increases by maximum 1. And once you fix that particular subtree, you're done. Okay? You're done. You don't have to update the rest of the tree anymore. Okay? You just need to fix that. How about deletion? So deletion, now we did a quick poll. I want you guys to think about deletion a little bit harder. Right? Do you think that it will be log n, on, o1, or it's so confusing but I'm confused? Okay, so let's and put this on poll everywhere. So what do you think? O log n, on, o1, or it's very confusing? Okay, I'll give you a couple minutes. Right. I'll give you 2 minutes. Now think carefully about a deletion case, right? What happens during a deletion, and what can occur in this particular situation? About a minute. Okay, time's up. So 75% of you said log n. Some people are confused, which is normal. On is 8% and O1 is 4%, okay, out of the 24 respondents. So that's good. So the right answer is, in fact, I'll show you an example. We'll read the right answer. Okay. So let's just say we delete 29. We delete 29. Okay, we go up to 20. Balance factor is 2. What kind of rotation do we need? Left, right. Okay, good. Right. Okay, left, right. Left, right, down. Okay, let's walk up the tree. Up, something's off, right? It's heavy. What kind of rotation do we need? it's balanced off by balance 2. We just need a left right. Okay, we just need a rotation. And your tree is balanced. Okay? So do you notice that we didn't just have to fix the rotation of the subtree? We actually had to recurse all the way up to the root to fix this problem. Now, how much do you have to do to recurse up to the root? Log n, right? So you need log n rotations in order to fix the delete. So deletions are not as pleasant as insertions. You may have to do log n rotations to fix the tree. Okay, so you can get, as I mentioned before, you can get some more practice in Visual Go. There are some examples there that you can figure out, like the rotation, or you can draw your tree out yourself and then try to figure it out. Okay, it's not too hard once you get the hang of it. Rotations are one of those things that you learn once, and then you maybe implement, maybe in a lifetime, maybe implement it once. But after that, you just use the APIs, okay? Use the libraries. You never want to have to re-implement this thing more than, don't implement more than once in your lifetime. Unless you have like some very special use case. Even then, those are rare. Okay. All right. So I'm gonna move a little bit to a topic which is this is extra. Okay, this extra. I estimated that I will finish today a little bit early, but I want to give you a little bit of extra because this problem comes up a lot. This problem comes up a lot, and I hope that it will flesh out a little bit more knowledge for you. So we want to do. So you guys use Google, and you guys still use Google. Google. Okay. So sometimes when I'm hungry, like now, I want to find the nearest restaurant. I just type into Google what's the closest restaurant to me right now, and then Google tells me all the nearest restaurants. So how does Google do that? The question is, how does Google do that? Okay. Now you must imagine that Google has thousands, maybe millions of restaurants, right, in a particular area, right? Millions might be high. Let's say thousands. Okay. Hundreds of thousands of restaurants in a particular area. It receives maybe hundreds or thousands of queries per second or per minute, and it has to repeat this process all the time, right? So how can you do it quickly? Well, you don't want to wait like 1 hour for Google to tell you, oh, these are the restaurants next to you, right? It's pointless. It returns to you very, very quickly, right? The response is coming right away. In fact, we can see it right now. So if I go to Google, that's not Google. Okay, and closest restaurants to me, and done, right? 0.171 seconds. So how does it do this? Google has a huge database of potential restaurants. So how does it know? How does it compute this? So we're gonna try to figure this out. What is the most straightforward algorithm you can think of? What's the most straightforward algorithm?
Recursion.
As I give you, this is my query point. This is where I am. Okay, AB, and I give you a set for all the other restaurants, all the other points, right? And I tell you, what's the closest restaurant to me right now? I want the closest restaurant. What's the way you do it? Simple way, simplest way. Huh? Yeah, it's very true. That's the simplest way, right? You just compute the distance from the query point to all the other points, and you keep track of the minimum distance, and then you just report that again. Okay, you report the point with the closest distance, right? That's what you want. What's the time complexity? N, good. Question, can we do better? What do you think? Yes, okay, that's yes. Okay. The yes is to use something called KD tree. There are other kinds of trees, there are oct trees and quad trees, but I only cover KD trees. You can read up about the rest. KD trees were invented by John Bentley in the 1970s, so you remember the name John Bentley when we were talking about invariances and binary research, right? The name came up, right? He wrote programming pearls. So the name origin meant for K to represent the number of dimensions. So if you had 3 dimensions, then you would be called 3D tree. If it's 4 dimensions, 4D trees, so on and so forth. But nowadays, people just call it KD trees. Okay, people call it KD trees of dimension 3 or dimension 4, so on and so forth. Okay. The idea is very simple, but it gets a bit hairy later on, but it's quite simple. We just want to store the points in a binary search tree. Okay, in a binary search tree. Right? So it extends the BSTs that we know to k-dimensional keys. So in a previous binary search tree that we've seen before, ABL, and in also the vanilla BST, you saw that the keys were always just one dimensional. It's just one number, right? For points, for let's say 2D points, each point is 2 numbers, right? If you have 3D points, then it's 3 numbers, right? So how do you organize the tree to store all these numbers, right? How do you choose to split? So the way the KD tree works is that each level chooses a particular dimension to split on. So let's just say you have 2 points, x and y coordinate, your x coordinate and your y coordinate. At your top level, let's say you arbitrarily pick x. The next level will be y. And then you go down, it will be x again. Alright? So what does it mean by you split in that dimension? It means that when you're choosing to recurse down the tree, you only compare that dimension only. Okay, you forget, imagine the other one didn't exist. Okay? You do the same thing for insertion as well. Right? When you're searching through the tree, you only check the dimension that you're interested in. So let's do an example here to make this concrete. Let's just say I'm looking for 4, 7. I'm looking for 4, 7 in this tree. Alright? I first check the node, the first root node, okay? And I check what is the splitting dimension. The splitting dimension is x. Alright? So I only check the x coordinate. I only check the x coordinate. And I say, okay, 4 is bigger than 7 or less than 7? Less or bigger? Less. Okay. Do I recurse left or recurse right? Left, right? Just like binary search tree, recurse left. So we go down this way. Right? We go down this way. Now we get to 5, 4. Okay, we get to 5, 4. Alright? Now look at the splitting dimension. The splitting dimension is y. Alright? So I'm going now to compare this node, the y coordinate only. Okay? Now 7 and 4, which one is bigger? 7, of course. Now because it's bigger, do I recurse left or recurse right? Right. Right? Just like the binary search trees. And I find my, right? I found my 4, 7. Okay? Alright, so this is a way that we can quickly organize our points and quickly find the points, right, in a binary search tree. Okay? By alternating these dimensions. So conceptually, what is this tree doing? This tree is kind of splitting up the search space. Okay? It's splitting up search space into regions, or cells, or bounding boxes, right? You can see it referred to in different ways. But it's splitting up these the entire search space, right, into these regions. So for example, 7.2 splits, 7.2 is here, okay, 7.2 is here. It splits the region into a left portion and a right portion. Okay, a left portion, a right portion, a left and right side. Okay, a right portion and a left portion, right? And then you can decide where to go, depending on your point, right? And then once you get down to y, let's say we take 5, 4, which is this point, it then splits this corresponding region into 2 parts, the top part and the bottom part, right? Okay, so insertion using a KD tree is very similar to what we did before, and it's very similar to BSTs, okay? All you need to do is recurse down the tree as if you were searching for a point, and then once you cannot go anymore, then you decide whether you put it on the left subtree or your right subtree. Okay, so that's how it's going to work. Okay, the difference is, of course, is that we need to check the appropriate dimension per level, just like what we were doing before with the searching. And we will see what problems this can cause later. Okay, so imagine if we were trying to insert 8, 8. All right, so let's try this together. All right, this is x. What do I need to compare? I need to compare the x dimension. Do I recurse left or recurse right? Right. Go down this way. I check. Now is the y dimension, right? So I need to compare 6 against 8. Do I go left or right? I go right. Okay? So that's how you can do insertions in KD trees. Okay? So instead of just using one number, you're comparing 2 numbers, but alternating fashion. Okay? Alternating fashion. Okay. So now, let's go back to our original problem. Just now I was searching for a point that already exists, right? For already exists. I want to search for a new point because Google doesn't have your point. They do, but let's imagine they don't. Then you need to search in the database, right? For the closest point, not the point that already exists, but closest point, right? Closest point to me. So how do I do this? Okay. So maybe one way is that I search the tree like a BST, and then I just return the point in the final leaf node. Okay, so I go through just like searching for a node that exists. Okay, and then I go down to a leaf node and I just return whatever's there. So how many people think that this will work? Yes, betul. I think this will work. So how many people think this won't work? How many people I don't know? Completely no clue. So let's look at a particular example. Okay, let's look at a particular example. So this doesn't work. This doesn't work. And you can try it looking for 52, 52. Okay? So 52, 52, if you compare x, it will lead you down this way first. Okay? And then after this, once you get to 70, 70, where do you go? You compare the y dimensions. Is it bigger or smaller? It's smaller. And you go down the left subtree. And then you get this value. Right? Which is here. Okay. Is this the closest point to 52, 52? No, there are closer points, especially this one. Right? This one's closer. So this idea doesn't work. This idea doesn't work. So maybe you say, maybe this doesn't work because we are, we're not keeping track of the closest point along the way. There are all these other points, right? All these other points that we're just kind of neglecting. They're on the inner nodes. So maybe I should just keep track of those points. Right? So how many people think that this can work? This idea can work? Yes? Can work? No? Probably not. Probably not. I see a lot of people shaking their heads. Why? This doesn't work. Right? This doesn't work. Again, you can try 52, 52. If you try 52, 52, you will do the same thing and come back here. But you will only compare this node, and this node. Where is the closest point? The closest point is it about 50, 50. Where is 50, 50? It's over here. We didn't even examine that subtree. Right? We didn't even examine that subtree. So the key idea behind k trees is that I'm trying to bring forth here is that the nearest point to Q in Euclidean space, we are using Euclidean metric here, may be far away from Q in the tree. Okay, may be far away from Q in the tree. So it's not working. Right? I say this is a better technique, but it doesn't seem to be working. Right? So how are we going to fix this? Well, the idea is that we want to traverse the whole tree. We're still going to have to maybe traverse the tree in the worst case. But on average case, we're going to try to prune away parts of the search tree which we know that the point cannot be inside. Okay, that the closest point cannot be inside. Alright, so we're going to do some pruning. So how do we prune? So we're going to leverage on the second idea, but we're going to build upon it. Alright? So what the second idea got correct is that we need to keep track of the closest point, right, that we've seen so far. But the second idea stopped prematurely. We need to continue on this particular algorithm such that we can search the entire tree, okay, if necessary. Right. So phase 1 works very similarly to idea 2. All right, we start with the root node, and we're just going to recurse down the tree like in a typical BST fashion. Okay, just like how we do insertion. And if we find a closer node, then we're just going to save this at the best point. So when you start at the top, for example, 51 and 75, you will pick, this is going to be the candidate C. You go down to 70, 70, it's not going closer. So the candidate still remains the same, 51 and 75, and then you go down to 55 and 51, and then you check whether that's going to be closer or not. Okay, it's not going to be closer. So your candidate remains 51, 75. Okay, but that's not good enough. You need to unwind the recursion. Okay, so by unwind the recursion means you backtrack. Okay, you backtrack up the tree. Okay, when you're backtracking up the tree, you need to do a check. You need to see whether the branch that you didn't go down, the branch I didn't examine, can there be any points there that are closer to me than the current candidate? Okay, can there be points? So for example, if I go down to 51, I'm backtracking to 70, 70. Okay, I'm here now. I need to check whether anything in this side of the tree, right, can be closer to me than the candidate. Okay, than the candidate. If there is, then I need to search that part of the tree. Okay. In this case, yes, actually, there could be a point there closer to me than the candidate point, and I need to search that part of the tree. So yes, if yes, I go down the branch. If not, I can prune. If there is no point there that can be closer, I can just prune out this whole search space. Okay. So the question is, how do you do this? How do you check whether there are any points which are closer or not? So you can understand this geometrically, so I'll give you the intuition first. Okay? The intuition is this. When you have a candidate point, let's just say you have these points, okay, these points A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Okay, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, E, F. And you have this query point. Okay, you have this query point. And now A is my candidate point. A is my first, like the closest thing I've seen so far. Okay, A is my candidate point. This is the distance to A. Now I need to check whether this distance, this sphere, right, covers the other regions or not. If it covers the other regions, it means that there may be some points here in the other regions I haven't looked at that will be closer to me. Okay? If it is not the case, if it is this situation, for example, where the candidate point is B, this sphere is very small. It only overlaps with one other region. So I need to check this region, but I do not need to check this region. Okay? So I'm looking at the distance to the candidate point and seeing whether it overlaps with the other regions or not. If it overlaps with the other regions, it must be the case that I haven't examined it, but there could be something there. Right? There could be something there which is closer to me. So I need to check it out. So it turns out the implementation is very straightforward to do this. Right? The implementation is very straightforward to do this. You don't actually need to construct isospheres and hyperplanes and stuff like that. You're just there to check whether the distance between the splitting coordinate of the search point and the current node is less than the distance. And I will look exactly how to do this in a second. So this may seem very complex at first, but let's try to work it through step by step. Okay, step by step, and we'll see how this works. So again, we have our KD tree. Okay, this is our KD tree, and this is our X. We split on X here, split on Y here, and as you split on X, but you don't really need to split on X for leaves. Okay, but it's split on X at the last. Okay. So let's, this is the closest point, B. Okay, B is the closest point, but I don't know at first. I'll just give you the answer right away. Okay, B is the closest point first. So let's start with A, alright? I start off at A, I'm recursing down on A, right? I do that, we'll study depth first search later, but we're doing the regular binary search thing, alright? So we'll start on A, right? We set the best estimate to A's distance, right? And then we check. Alright, so do I recurse left or recurse right? I look at the x dimension, this is the x dimension, and I see whether the query point should be on the left or on the right. So in this case, it's on the left, right? So I recurse down the left part of the tree. Okay, so I go down there, I look at B, and I said, this distance is smaller than my previous one. So I'm going to update my candidate. Okay, my candidate is now going to be B, right? Then now, I need to recurse down on my left side again, right? I split on X, on Y, right? And so I'm going to recurse down on the left side, right? To check D. Okay, I check D. D is not closer than B, so I don't have to do anything, I go back up. Alright, now when I go back to B, I need to check, right? I've recursed up a little bit. I need to check whether this sphere, right, overlaps with any other region. Does it overlap with any other region? So the way I do that is I just check the splitting coordinate. Remember, the splitting coordinate here is Y. I check whether the query, let me draw this out. So this is this distance, okay? This is this distance, okay? That's just that distance, right? Is that smaller than this distance? Okay? So, if that is smaller, that means yes, I have to check. Right? It means that this distance to B overlaps with another region. And this portion here, I haven't checked yet. I didn't check yet, but I need to check it because there is a potential that there is a point, let's say here. Right? There's a point there which is closer to me, so I need to check it out. Right? So that means that I have to recurse down that subtree, okay, that branch. So I go down that subtree and I check and I say, oh, actually there's only E there and E is not closer, so I'm just going to go back up. Right? When I go back up, I go back to A. Now when I get back to A, I'm going to check again. Right? I'm going to check. Again, we now check on the X dimension. I'm checking this distance. Okay? And you compare that against the radius, right, of this, which is this hypersphere, which is this distance. Right? So we're comparing that. In this case, is it less or more? Is it less or more? It's more, right? It's more. That means the distance to the other region is larger than my current closest point. Right? Distance to the other region is too far away. Nothing in the region can be closer to me than my current best point. It's too far away. So I don't have to check. I can just throw away the other part of the tree. Okay? I can throw away part of the tree. So that will result in a basically I save time, right? I can throw away the part of the tree. So let's do a quick poll. What is the worst case time complexity for a nearest neighbor search based on a fixed number of dimensions? So let's say my dimension is 3, right? What do you think? What is the worst case time complexity for this case? So is it O1? So how many people think it's O1? Can't be O1, right? O1 means you research the whole problem. Okay. Is it O log n? O log n? O log n, okay, a few O log n's. On? More, okay. Confused? Okay. KD trees are confusing at first. Don't worry, that's why it's extra material, right? It's extra material for you. It's actually ON. Okay. The worst case situation is that you actually have to search the whole tree, and that can occur in pathological situations. Okay. So it is possible that you have to check the whole tree. It's possible. What is the average case? Average case. So I'm going to give you the answer. The average case, of course, the average case is log n, right? The average case is log n. So it has very good average case performance. Still the worst case performance, no worse than the straightforward algorithm that we came up with. Okay, so not too bad. This is the actual bound. The actual bound is 2 to the power of k log n. It's 2 to the power of k, where k is the number of dimensions. So this tells you something about how bad it is when it comes to scaling with the number of dimensions. So the number of dimensions, as it increases, can be quite poor. Okay, so you have to keep that in mind. It only works well for small, medium-sized dimensions. Okay, so let's talk about construction very quickly. I gave you this KD tree, and I said, look, now we can do fast searches, right? But I didn't tell you how you actually construct this KD tree. If I give you a set of points, how do you construct it? So what's the simple way? What's the simple way? Really straightforward, based on what you've already learned. I give you a set of points, I say construct me a KD tree, you know insertion and you know search. What can you use to construct it? Insert one by one, thank you. You insert the point one by one, right? That's the simplest possible way, of course. What's the problem? What's the problem? Alright, the tree might not be balanced. So we learned, like we spent the last hour talking about how to make trees balanced, right? We want to make trees balanced. The tree might become imbalanced. Then it's bad for us. So you try to insert these in this order, right? Do it for homework. You will see that you come up with just a chain, okay? And that's not good, right? That doesn't work out nicely for us. So let's not use that approach. I'm just going to gloss over the details, okay? And just give you the high level idea. You can construct the KD tree recursively, all right? You cycle through the axis, but what you want to do to ensure balance is to pick the median at each splitting point. So if you have your set of points, you pick the median point, and then you recursively call construct for the left subtree and the right subtree. Okay, so you find the median, you partition the points into two parts, the part bigger than the median, part smaller than the median, for that splitting dimension, and then you recursively call to construct your tree going downwards. Okay, but each time you call it, then you're going to have to pick the correct splitting dimension. So you first split an x, then you split a y, and then you split an x, and so on and so forth. Okay. How fast can you find the median? So you guys learned different algorithms. How fast can you find the median? How fast can you find the median? Median point. Unsalted array, let's say. Unsalted array. Unsalted array. Unsalted array. Yes, how fast can you find the median? Which algorithm have you learned that you can find the median quickly? How do you find the median? What algorithm allows you to find, let's say, the kth largest number? Quick select, alright? So you can find the median using quick select, alright? That is what time on average? So think about that. Homework, alright? You can also sort the arrays first. So a common thing is to sort the points in each dimension, and then you can also quickly find the medians in that particular case, alright? Think about whether this leads to a balanced tree. Okay? So I said this method works. I claim it leads to a balanced tree, but you think about whether this leads to a balanced tree. And why does it lead to a balanced tree? So KD tree works well in low to medium dimensions. It's not great for high dimensional data. So it's good for maps. Let's say you want to find points on the map. It's 2 or 3D. That's really good. It's not so good if your points are like 50 dimensional or 128 dimensional. That's great. That doesn't work so well. So when do you have these high dimensional points? Sometimes when you're doing document analysis, the points are then like the number of word frequencies in the document. That's way too hard, okay, to do something like KD tree. There are variants for those kind of works, but this basic KD tree won't work so well there. There are many variants of KD trees, alright? You can choose to store points only at the leaf nodes. Some people do that. You don't have points in each node, you just have points in the leaf nodes. And some people don't even cycle through the dimensions. So there are different kind of choices you can make. At each node, you kind of choose which dimension you want to split on. You can choose to split on X, Y, Z, you pick one, okay? And there are different heuristics for that. You can choose the value to split on. Some people pick the median. Some people pick the mean. Some people pick, just take the space, the minimum and the maximum, and they just take the middle. They don't care about the points inside. Okay? They just look at what's in the middle of that minimum and maximum. Okay? And finally, how many points you want to store at the leaf nodes if you're storing at the leaf nodes. Why I'm talking about KD trees? Because KD trees have a lot of applications. Alright? You do nearest neighbor, I've just showed you, like, for example, on Google. They also do it for ray tracing, so if you play video games, right? The way they construct the 3D scenes, you can nowadays ray tracing is all the rage, and you can use KD trees to help solve that problem. 2D research, and if you're interested in physics and body simulations, very often use KD trees in order to speed up the simulations. And then you also can use it for collision detection. Right? You don't have to search the entire space, you just look for the closest object, for example, for collision detection. So there are many, many applications of KD trees, and they're very interesting data structures. Okay? Alright, so that's the end of today's lecture. You now know about high balance trees. You also know a little bit about KD trees. We talked about rotations and how they can maintain balance in the KD tree. Okay?
Bye bye.